Hello, everybody, and welcome to the SportsLogos.Net podcast. I'm your host, Chris Creamer, joined as always by podcast Paul Caputo, here for episode number 14. Wow, 14. It's almost an official show now. Paul, what do you think about this week's episode?
I really want podcast Paul to stick. That's I'm going to get that on like a Phillies jersey. It'll be
Podcast Paul.
Podcast Paul. I'd have to choose a uniform number. Normally my favorite uniform number would be 42 because life, the universe, and everything, and the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. But you can't go 42. It's retired. It's retired for all the teams and all the fans.
It should be retired for all the fans if it's not.
Yeah. Speaking of episode 14, this is the Pete Rose episode, maybe? I don't know.
I guess. Pete Rose has been banned from baseball for life.
That includes this podcast.
Over.
Yeah.
Is he been banned from podcast references?
I met Pete Rose very briefly, and he looked like a wax statue of himself, and he was signing autographs for a fee in Las Vegas in a little sports memorabilia store between the Luxor.
Is this before or after he died?
So far as I know, it was before he died. That is an excellent question. I appreciate it. Yeah, there was nobody in line. I didn't have anything for him to sign, nor did I particularly care to have his autograph. But I did ask him about the play in the 1980 World Series where Bob Boone had the pop-up squirt out of his glove, and he was standing right there in foul territory and snatched it for an out. That was a big play in Game 6 of that World Series.
Well, come on, don't leave us hanging. What did he say?
He said, I don't know. We still would have won. It was just only Game 6, and so yeah, he was sort of gruff. I wasn't giving him money, and so he didn't. He didn't. Maybe would this be better off being the Ernie Banks episode, and we could do 2 episodes this week. Let's podcast 2.
I'm not doing 2 episodes this week, so you can do the second one by yourself.
Okay.
Now, so you mentioned he didn't answer because you didn't pay him, which is probably true. But I also met Pete Rose in that exact same spot that you did. I think everyone has a Las Vegas Pete Rose story, which is apropos. So I actually met Pete Rose about 4 or 5 times.
Wow.
I'll do this quite quickly. Don't worry, everyone.
First time.
We'll get to Minnesota Timberwolves logos and uniforms leaking and all that. So my father had to go away on business a lot to South Florida, in Boca Raton, Florida, and sometimes we would tag along. And Pete Rose had a restaurant in Boca Raton, Florida, and he would do a live radio show from the restaurant, I think 2 or 3 times a week. And we knew when that was, so we would go to the restaurant there and we would meet him. We'd get his autograph. This was back in like the mid 90s. I was quite young. And I do remember that he refused to autograph my Philadelphia Phillies t-shirt that I had because I did not buy it from his restaurant souvenir store. I was like 12 years old, and he goes, no. He just says no. And I reached out to shake his hand, and he didn't shake my hand and all that.
Wow.
So this happened 3 or 4 times. And then I did meet him in Las Vegas, and I was, as you know, in Las Vegas, you're allowed to drink openly.
It's true.
And I was down there with my best buddy from high school. We were making up some lost time there, and we were a little inebriated. And as we walk by, slightly inebriated, there's Pete Rose. Hey, let's go talk to Pete. So we go over to talk to Pete Rose, and immediately his manager steps in and is like, yo, hey, you want to talk to Pete? You got to pay. He'll sign for you. You know what? You can sit there and talk to him for 10, 15 minutes if you want. Ask him whatever you want. Just got to pay the fee. And I was like, okay. So I picked out a photo of him playing for the Expos.
Okay.
And the photo was him playing at Exhibition Stadium in Toronto for like the only time he played in Toronto during a Pearson Cup mid-season exhibition game between Toronto and Montreal in 1984.
Right, because there was no interleague play.
No interleague play.
Yeah.
So I got this picture of Pete Rose playing for the Expos at Toronto. I sit down and I start talking to him. I say, hey, there's a picture of you playing in Toronto. You never played in Toronto. He's like, yeah. I said, I used to go to your ballpark cafe a lot when I was younger. He goes, great place to see a fight. Anyways, see ya. And I just looked around. That was like 20 seconds. You said I could talk to him for 10 minutes.
Do you remember what it cost?
It was like $75.
Oh my goodness.
And I got up, I walked away, and the manager's like, "Yeah, well, how was it?" As he's
Ugh.
like now full into conversation with this yes, younger woman,
Mm.
maybe early 20s.
In
And I
Vegas?
said, "Yes, yeah, right."
Weird.
And he's like, "Well, how was it?" I go, "He didn't even talk to me. I didn't."
Yeah.
He's like, come back after his lunch. He gets a little grumpy around lunch." I was like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm fine. Thank you."
Yeah.
And that's my fifth of five Pete Rose stories.
Well, for the
Yeah,
listener, there were four others, but they took like a half hour and I had to edit them out. So I
they're all
apologize.
gone.
But that
Yeah,
was, you
yeah.
got to hear number five because that was the best.
Oh my. Hey, should we talk about logos and uniforms maybe?
Chris, let's talk about the latest news in logos and uniforms. I would say the biggest news, because it's one from one of the big four sports. Historically, one of my favorite NBA teams, and I can get into that in a little bit, but the Minnesota Timberwolves have new logos and uniforms right now, just in leak status. At the time of this podcast dropping, it'll just be a couple of days away from actually being revealed. Your Minnesota Timberwolves, the second farthest north team in the NBA after Portland and before
That's right.
Toronto.
Yeah, that's right. I can't remember if they were second or third, but
Portland,
they're up there.
Minnesota, Toronto, Milwaukee, I think was the order.
Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Good. We're gonna have to update the board every now and then if the tectonic plates shift at any point.
But
Well,
yeah, we have a new uniforms coming for Minnesota.
yes. And for those listeners who didn't dip out during the Pete Rose stories, we have some these uniforms, assuming they haven't officially been revealed, early because of the fact that the team leaked these themselves, which is just that's got to be embarrassing, right?
You got to do finger quotes when you say leaked like that, Chris. Like
Leaked. Well, I don't,
something that was leaked on its own website.
I have had, I have seen examples of teams kind of leak
Yeah.
intentionally, and
Okay.
when that's happened, they've reached out to me to ask why I haven't covered it.
Ah.
So that's what I can tell that this was intentional. This one was, I'm guessing that somebody just uploaded all the photos and didn't realize someone could type in, slash uniforms at the end of a URL and see all the new stuff. So yeah, these new uniforms, basically, like we're seeing a lot lately in sports design, a combination of several
Mm.
throwback eras, all mishmashed into one cohesive design. We've talked about this before, whether we like it or we don't like it. Honestly, I change my mind based on the team, the design, the time of
Right.
day. I really have no universal opinion on this. It just depends on if it looks good. And if I look at a uniform and I go, yes, that feels like that team, that feels natural. It doesn't feel like a new uniform, but doesn't feel like a throwback. It just feels like that's the way the team should look.
Hmm.
And I kind of get that with these Timberwolves uniforms and logos. They're taking the original colors from when the team started back in 1989, the light blue, the light green. They are combining that with the word mark that they wore starting like 2009, 2010, and then they're incorporating the extremely popular evergreen tree striping on the alternate black jersey to create this uniform that covers every era of Timberwolves basketball while feeling like a design that intentionally was designed to be together instead of just, let's throw a throwback jersey that doesn't match with the regular home and road set like some of these teams are doing when they incorporate a throwback uniform. This feels like a properly designed, cohesive uniform set with a new logo that is based on what they wore in the 2020s. So it really is encompassing the entire history of the Minnesota Timberwolves into one design. And I think they're doing it quite effectively.
So I was a Duke basketball fan. My brother went to Duke. He graduated with Christian Laettner. He and Christian Laettner and Grant Hill were there the same 4 years. They went to the Final Four all 4 years that my brother was there. So, my Richmond Spiders didn't even make the tournament when I was at Richmond, but he got to graduate with Christian Laettner. Both Christian Laettner and Doug West played for the Timberwolves at the time that these uniforms that I would say are largely based on, right? Like that, like very late 1980s and then the early 1990s. I didn't purchase it myself. It was gifted to me by a college girlfriend when Christian Laettner got drafted by the Timberwolves, she got me a Timberwolves jersey that had Leitner's name on the back. I don't think I ever wore it in public, but I did have it for a long time. I don't know where that is now. But for me, like that, the throwbackiness of this for me is something that I like. I always had a soft spot for the Timberwolves. They were always terrible, right? Like it was kind of hard to root against the Timberwolves in any real way, unless, of course, you were a Duke hater and you were rooting against Christian Laettner, which I'm sure happened. But in general, I like these. I like the era that they evoke. I am a victim of my own nostalgia with this because, I see this and it makes me feel the warmth I felt for the Timberwolves that I have not felt in many, many years.
Now, why didn't you wear that Christian Laettner jersey out in public? Is that something to be embarrassed of? Did you think people would think you were Christian Laettner and would swarm you for autographs?
Mostly because either I would have had to wear a t-shirt underneath it, which is fine. I guess that's something that people do, or I would have had to expose my shoulders and arms, and let's just say that's not my strong suit, Chris. Like that's that's not going to have people swarming me for any positive reason. Mostly because though it was always felt a little funny. I feel like I'm fiercely loyal to my sports teams, and wearing like a Minnesota sports jersey out in public would make people think that I was some kind of like huge Minnesota fan, and that I would get swarmed by Minnesotans trying to,
If you're
ask
going to
me.
get swarmed by the residents of any state, I would
Yeah,
say Minnesota is a good one.
they're a kind people up there. They love their hot dish. They love their what's it, hot tot casserole.
I have no idea. They like Prince. I know that.
Well, he's one of their own. So
One of them.
yeah, Minnesota. Like I said, I've got sort of a soft spot for Minnesota sports teams, except for the Vikings in general, right? Like I kind of like the Twins. I love that Minnie and Paul logo from the
Oh, yeah.
Twins, and they beat the Braves in 1991 in the World Series, which I always appreciated.
I'm on the other side because the Twins knocked out the Jays in '91 ALCS. So I
Ah,
was not cheering for the Twins in 1991. But speaking of Minnesota design, though, I love what they're doing now. They're kind of all incorporating this North Star look into their
hmm
uniforms, right? Like the
hmm
Twins added it, and the Wild have had it for a few years. Not to mention the former hockey team of the same name used it for a long time. Going back to the design though of these new T-Wolves uniforms, it seems to be, again, we're talking about overall trends.
Yeah.
And one trend is, yes, teams are blending together multiple eras into one look. Another trend seems to be correcting the overcorrecting of a more wild design era.
Mhm.
And allow me to explain because I
Yeah.
imagine that was a little complicated. Um, So, you think about the 90s and early 2000s when designs they got a little wacky, they got a little nutty, not in a bad way necessarily, just that was the style of the time. Teams sort of got rid of tradition. They had access to new digital tools and new printing. They could print things onto jerseys they couldn't do before. So things got a little wacky, which is fine.
I blame Adobe Illustrator. Sorry to
It's all
interrupt.
Adobe's fault. Yeah. And so what we saw was a bit of an overcorrecting of that. Teams started to really, really simplify their looks. You could say it was to look better on social media, look better on mobile phone screens. What we saw on uniforms, though, was a lot of single color word marks. They're getting rid of trim. Look at the Timberwolves uniforms that they currently wear prior to this leak, where it's single color wolves across the front in navy blue on a white jersey. The road jersey, Minnesota in white on a navy blue jersey. Very plain. The Twins do the exact same thing with single color red on white. An overcorrection, right? Now we're oversimplifying a more complicated time. And now we are correcting that. We're kind of meeting in the middle. We're saying, okay, let's add some trim color again. Let's add some interesting elements to these uniforms. It doesn't need to be simple for the sake of being simple. And let's now tap back into the eras we were in prior to the simplification of our design. It's interesting to see how design is evolving over time, and eventually we're going to run out of eras to throw back to because now we're just like throwing back to an era prior and combining all eras together. I don't know where this is going to go from here. It feels like teams are settling on forever looks.
hmm
It feels like teams are finally saying, this is how we look and this is how we're going to look going forward. I would have thought that about the New York Jets, but then they threw back again. So the Jets are in the infinite throwback loop. Whereas a team like the Wolves here, this feels like a forever uniform, right? They really can't do anything else unless they completely burn it down and start again or make slight modifications. Teams like my Jays, right? They went wacky and then they threw back to what feels like a forever set. A team like the Marlins, you
Hmm.
can tell they're making steps towards figuring out their
Hmm. Hmm.
forever set. The Devil Rays are currently doing that as well when they threw out that feeler
Yeah.
with the blue and yellow version of their original Devil Rays gradient set and all that.
Would you describe the arc that the Brewers took this way as
Yes,
well? So,
100%. Yep, the Brewers did the exact same thing. Everyone just sort of throws away that original uniform, the beer barrel man, because the ball and glove set was so strong, it
sure.
feels like that's their original set. But they went to the Todd Radom Motra Bame uniforms, and then they went to what I thought was a very strong blue and gold set with the wheat and all that.
Uh-huh.
That was a very appropriate update for that team.
Yeah.
But after a while, those metallic colors, those dark colors feel a little dated. You
Hmm.
want the bright in your face colors.
Yeah.
And yeah, so the Brewers absolutely went back. And now they have a forever set.
Yeah.
And from there they can make little tweaks here and there, but I can't imagine they will ever get rid of the ball and glove logo again. I
Right.
can't imagine they'll ever go away from blue and gold again.
Right.
Those seem to be set in stone, Milwaukee Brewers cornerstone identities at this point.
Let me, because we keep throwing back to throwbacks and we're running out of throwbacks to throw back to. The Brewers are an interesting example. You mentioned the Todd Radom Motra Bame logo, and Todd is a design hero. He is one of our very good friends. His work is incredible, and he has done so much for the field of sports design. His new book is out now, by the way. I've seen pictures of it all
Yes.
over social media.
Yeah.
The ballpark and beyond. We had him on one of our episodes. All of this is prelude to the fact that even Todd will tell you that Brewers logo was not the most well received of the work
No.
that he has done in the past, in part because there was that nostalgia for the ball and glove logo, right? Like it was just compared unfavorably to the old ball and glove. Do we reach a point, because we keep throwing back to throwbacks, where there is a time where we throw back to that Todd Radom MB Notre Dame logo?
I think as an alternate or a throwback or like a one-off or like a City Connect. I don't think as a permanent ever. And that's no shade to Todd's logo. I think that's just the Brewers have finally settled on their forever logo,
Hmm.
and that's
Hmm.
it. So why ever go away from it? Like add it as a patch, incorporate it into an anniversary branding, whatever. But never as a permanent full-time primary mark. I don't
Yeah.
think it'll ever happen. Just like I don't think my Jays will ever go back permanently as a primary mark to the black and graphite era,
Right.
or any other example of like the Marlins will never go back full time to that orange and black Jeffrey
Right.
Laurier
Yeah.
design, right? That's
Yeah.
just it's forgotten to time because there's no positive memories associated with it, and the teal is so much more of a better look. So
Yeah.
eventually the Marlins will go back to teal and black. It's inevitable.
Yeah.
It's just how they're going to do it. They'll screw up probably the first time, and then they'll go back and try again.
Teal
And
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 black, like the Carolina Panthers cap that you are wearing right now.
I don't think you can call this teal. I'm gonna
Uh-oh.
spare you the violent,
Oh no. This is like a
the
whole
violent Carolina.
aqua and the Dolphins thing.
Yeah, I think is this Carolina blue? I think that's the safest way to call it.
I don't think that's Carolina blue. Like that doesn't look like North Carolina's blue. That look,
You know what? You're gonna send both both of us are gonna have to field questions from angry North Carolinians.
oh
I'm
no.
just hoping that they are so distracted by their Carolina Hurricanes that they don't even
Mm,
notice that we're talking about the
in the
Tampa
NHL
Hurricanes.
playoffs. Chris, this whole conversation sort of dovetails with something else that we had on our list to talk about today, and we're doing things out of order, but that's not unusual for us. That story, by the way, that coverage of the Minnesota Timberwolves on SportsLogos.Net was from Andrew Lind, and he did
Mhm.
a great job writing that up. Andrew Lind had another article that he wrote about Jalen Hurts pleading, in his words, for the white road version of the Kelly Green throwback uniforms. First of all, when you hold up that Kelly green next to the sort of midnight green that they're using now, those two colors do not look good together. The Phillies, the powder blue and the maroon, that looks okay next to the red and white and the red, white, and blue of their current uniform. The Kelly green and the midnight green do not work well together. But the Eagles are one of these teams that play half of their games in supposed throwback uniforms, right? And Jalen Hurts was asked about this question. He didn't, initiate this conversation, but he was asked, what basically, what uniforms would you like to play in? And given the limitation of 4 uniforms in the NFL that they're allowed to have, if they were to introduce one, they would of course have to eliminate one. And essentially, Jalen Hurts and some of the other players were advocating for getting rid of the black alternate that they have right now that is based on the supposedly current version of the Eagles logo. Get rid of that black alternate, introduce, in addition to the Kelly green, the solid green ones that they wear, also have the old throwback white uniforms that they used to wear, which means that a full 50% of their 4 uniforms would be throwback uniforms, and they would wear them for roughly half of their games, if not more than half of their games. They're great uniforms, and both the throwback brand and the current brand are versions of green, and so there's not too much brand confusion. But I'll tell you, when I go shopping in Philly, I went shopping looking for something with the new logo on it. And I would go into sporting goods stores. 90% of the stuff in there was the old Kelly Green uniform, right? Like that was all stuff that was selling. I don't know. I'm not sure if you asked me what was the Philadelphia Eagles primary logo right now that I'd be able to tell you.
The Eagles are certainly a candidate for what we just talked about here, right? Trying to blend together some eras to figure out their forever look. They are at this crossroads here where the Dolphins are there too, right? Where their fans seem to like the retro look better than the current look, but you don't want to go back to a straight throwback look because it's time to move forward a little bit. So I could see the Eagles doing something like keep the current logo, keep the current helmet, but just change the colors, right? Like, could you not have the current logo set, the current helmet, where it's a more of a modern eagle wing,
Hmm.
a modern eagle design? You have a more modern word mark because the that old retro logo is a little dated. It's not going to produce well in modern applications.
Hmm.
It's very detailed, and just make it Kelly green instead of that midnight green. And then, I mean, you could even then do again what the Jets are doing. And if you really need to have a black uniform, have a black version, and trim it with Kelly green instead of the midnight green. And yeah, I think that's a very solid look overall. And it sort of makes everybody happy. It's hard to get mad at that set,
Hmm.
right? A modern Eagles uniform design in Kelly green instead of midnight green.
Hmm. Hmm.
As an
It,
Eagles fan, like how would you feel about that?
oh, it would be great. I mean, I think it would finally make everybody happy, right? Because I
Mhm.
agree that the current version of the Eagle is a better logo, a more contemporary, modern logo. That Kelly green, though, I think is just much more popular as a color, which is funny because it doesn't correlate to the success that the franchise has had, right? Like, I mean, the 2 Super Bowls that the Eagles have won in the last 10 years, that came after they moved away from that Kelly green. So
Mhm.
this is just the Kelly green is just pure nostalgia, right? Like it's just like, I miss Reggie White. I,
It's
you know,
bright colors too, like
right.
because we
Yes.
like bright colors.
Yes. Yeah. So I think that what you're talking about, because right now the Kelly green uniforms and the white uniforms that they're wearing are straight throwbacks, right? Like there is no
Yeah.
modifications to them, and it is just what they wore back in the day. And I feel like I see this all the time with the Phillies. I don't mean to always make this about the Phillies and my teams, but you see the modern Phillies P in maroon on a powder blue hat, right? Like you see that used with the old colors, not by the team necessarily, but certainly in merch. And if you're on the Ocean City Boardwalk and checking out all the T-shirt shops, you're going to see that. I think that for the Eagles, they absolutely could use the contemporary design in the former colors, and it would be the best of both worlds. So I'd buy the hat, Chris.
So, okay, this might lead to an even bigger conversation, which is what's more important, the
Uh huh.
logo and uniform design
Yeah.
or the colors?
Whew.
And I'm leaning towards it's not one or the other exclusively,
Yeah,
but I think the colors are ultimately more important when it comes to connecting with your team because,
yeah,
that becomes your entire identity,
right.
basically.
And
Like there's a way to screw it up too, right? Like the Sabres, they went back to their original colors, but they
right.
did so with a logo that was so out there that the fans rejected it immediately with the Buffa Slug. Yeah.
Did you call it a buffa slug?
Buffa Slug. Yeah. It's a buffalo, but kind of looks like a slug jumping.
My older daughter is about to start a graduate school program at UC Santa Cruz, where they are, of course, the banana slugs.
The
So
banana slugs, right.
I am going
Which
to,
inspired the Sabres logo, I imagine.
I am absolutely going to raid that team store on them out there. Chris, hey, guess
Yes.
what? The NBA Finals, the matchup is set. New York versus San Antonio. But more than that, NBA Finals trophies are back on the courts! Exclamation point. That's how we
Yay.
have it. That is big news. Why is it big news that the trophy is back on the finals courts for the 2026 NBA Finals?
Because it looks cool. It looks great. I love it.
Yeah.
I wish other leagues would do this. Just put the giant trophy on the field of play behind the team logo. As a fan of that team, it makes this feel so much more special
Mm.
to see that now this is a big game. This actually means something. The NHL used to put the Stanley Cup logo in the corner of their ice, which I loved. They don't really do that anymore. Imagine the Stanley Cup behind the team logo at center ice for every game. Even when I was at the World Series last year, I really would have loved a huge World Series logo behind home plate.
Hmm.
Instead, I got a little tiny word mark behind third base. It's not the same. The NBA does it better than any other league right now with that giant Larry O'Brien trophy right behind the team logo. You can't miss it. This is a big game. Your team is in the finals. If your team never makes the finals, this is super special to see that logo next to your team logo, right? To see the trophy next to your team logo is such a thrill in an official capacity. And this was something they did.
Yeah.
They did it from 2005 to 2009,
Hmm.
and there was a lot of complaints from players because apparently the material they used to actually put the logo on the court, the trophy on the court, was slippery. Players would slip on it.
Mm.
You can't argue with that. It's
Yeah. You don't want players getting injured.
yeah, you can't jeopardize players getting hurt by logos.
Right.
Although think of the story I'd be able to write on the site the next day.
Logo kills Kevin Durant.
Oh my gosh. That's going a little far.
Well, look, we got to get clicks, Chris.
You gotta get clicks. Yeah. But they're also bringing back the NBA Finals logo, which isn't it ridiculous that for about 10 years now, the NBA didn't put any branding for the championship series on the court. There was like digital logos added that you could see on television, but like, what are we, what are we, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing, Paul?
The digital logo bothers me a lot. I saw that posted on social media and I was like, is that true? Like, I even get
Yes.
bothered by like the rotating digital ads when you're watching a baseball game, right? Like with the
Mhm.
ads behind the batter, the fact that you're watching something on TV that's not actually taking place, right? Like this sort of it just brings a whole sort of sense of artificiality to the whole experience, right? Like
Just
so
live stream a video game. Why not?
right, exactly. And we're not even going to get to the new Madden covers. Is that what it was that was big news this
Yeah.
week? The Madden
Big
covers.
news
Yeah,
for people who are into that,
yeah,
which I am not, but
yeah.
I'm happy to cover it on the site. I just have no opinion on it. I don't.
Yeah. I feel like I'm going to be the hypocrite here, Chris, because the I can't watch an NFL game without the yellow line, right? Like, I mean, it's
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's I absolutely love that yellow line, the first
Or the
down
batter
marker.
box for
The
the strike zone
batters,
box.
the strike zone, the K zone, absolutely.
Yeah.
When hockey tried to do like the trail with the puck, like that was an interesting experiment, very distracting, never really caught on, but
You Americans are just trying to do anything you can to disturb my ability to watch a hockey game in peace. Um, I
apologies,
was
Chris.
watching yeah, what was I watching? I think it was the American simulcast of one of the conference finals games recently in the NHL, and Now when a player touches a puck, they put his name on the screen with an
Oh,
arrow
wow.
pointing to him.
Oh,
Again, like we're playing a video game.
yeah.
Uh, I get it.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some casuals who don't know who's who, but
I would
can't the
be one of the
hardcore fans be respected in a way? Is there an alternate
cats.
broadcast for us to watch where we can just enjoy the game?
Well, I
Maybe
will
that
just
we can
re
do like that Nickelodeon version for the kids, like they do for the NFL.
When I was in college, my buddy and I thought we were going to get rich over our idea to have alternate broadcasts for sporting events where we would say like off-color things. Like that was like our whole thing. Like watch the game along with us. That's just live streaming right now. Like that's just
Yeah,
live tweeting, I
that's what the
think.
Mannings do.
Yeah, so Jonathan Sale and I did not get rich by doing that, but we're like we could even curse maybe.
You know what? Honestly, all I want is a version of the game with no play-by-play.
This is like nothing day that they had
Yeah.
at the Louisville Bats. Ben Hill covered this for minor league baseball, where they just, they literally had like none of the pomp and circumstance that you get with attending a minor league baseball game. It was just
Yeah.
straight like just baseball happening. So you want
Well,
that on
MLB
sports now on TV.
MLB TV, where you can stream all the MLB games. Back in the day,
Yeah.
they used to have you can change what audio option you want for the game, and it would
Mm,
be like the home team's broadcast, road team's broadcast, the
hmm.
radio broadcast,
Yeah.
or park sounds. It was called natural park sounds,
That's
and
cool.
it was just a game without the play-by-play guy. And I used to always turn it on there. I would crank it up on my surround
Mm.
sound, and I would just sit there and I'd watch the game. And I loved it because I was able to react to things. I had to figure things out as if I
Yeah.
was watching the game in the stadium,
Yeah.
and things weren't explained to me. It was just when I hear the crowd roar, you get really into it. And I really, really wish they'd bring that back. And I don't
That's
know
super cool.
why. Maybe
Yeah.
because they can't read ads,
Right.
but
Right. Yeah. They can't tell
yeah,
you about what the odds are that this player is going to hit a home run.
right. Or that Ally McBeal is coming next or something.
Allie McBeal.
Yeah, we're going back a bit. Going back to my watching Fox on
I was
MLB on
watching
Fox.
baseball on Peacock yesterday, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, this weekend anyway. And I was looking forward to see if I could get like the Phillies radio broadcast, to align with it because the Peacock. I just don't know who the Peacock announcers are. Like, who am I listening to? Who are these jokers? So,
See, this is one of the downsides of being the fan of a team that doesn't draw a lot of ratings in the US is that we kind of get the Jays get thrown into these streaming exclusive games a lot.
oh yeah,
So we're on Apple TV,
right,
we've been on the Netflix game, we were on Peacock this
yeah,
weekend. You kind of get used to not recognizing the announcers all of a sudden for the game,
yeah.
but the flip side of that is that we're the only team that has our regular home play-by-play guys doing the playoffs in the World Series.
That's
So
cool.
our
That's
World
cool.
Series coverage was our normal regular season team.
I find that even if the Phillies are getting blown out, I will sit there and watch the game just for John Kruk. Like just listening to John Kruk do the color commentary on a game is just
Oh, that's
so
great.
much
He
fun.
probably gets even more animated and more fun as there's a
Oh, he's
blowout.
a ton of fun. I wouldn't describe him as animated, but definitely fun. You're always laughing watching a broadcast, and the less close the game in either direction, the more fun it gets.
Yeah, you're gonna get some stories from John Kruk.
Well, I may yet tune into this Knicks versus Spurs finals just to see the logos on the court. I
There
did
you
have
go.
this is a very funny, I don't know, very funny. I had a little bit of a diversion where there was a whole conversation on a text thread that I'm part of about the Spurs. And it turns out it was about the Tottenham Spurs trying to avoid relegation, not the San Antonio Spurs. And there's a lot of confusion over that.
The whole time you kept asking about,
I,
yeah, when are they going to, when's game one? When are they playing the Knicks? Oh,
Chris, we have some segments to get to here. Let's start with, are there any YouTube comments that we want to share with listeners? And if
yeah.
you want to have a comment read on the air, possibly, go ahead and comment on YouTube or comment when Chris posts the article, or we'll
Yeah.
have Chris's mailing address posted in the show notes. You can send him a letter.
Let's not do that last one, but
Okay, we're not going to do that last one.
the other few you mentioned are fine. And this segment needs a theme song,
We
so
need a
maybe I'll
jingle.
work on that.
True.
Yeah. Like the old David Letterman letters. We get letters. We come
Maybe
up
I'll see if I can
from
find that.
letters. Okay. If we can get Paul Schaefer if he's available.
I'll check with him. I
Let
haven't seen him doing it. He can't be busy.
he's not busy. He's Canadian though. I should reach out to him. Okay. Let's see. We got some good comments, all from our last episode, which we were talking about the USA 250 patches. Nobody seemed to be talking about that.
Oh,
First of all, we had there was a commenter last week who told us about the French Canadian hockey series Lance et Comte,
yeah.
and we could not read his name. He has recommented and changed his name just for us. So
Oh, he's
thank
not the
you.
password anymore?
He's not the password anymore. Now he's Laser PDB.
Oh.
And he starts off his comment saying, I'm the guy with the complicated nickname. I changed it to help you out. This was a great episode, even though you didn't talk about the Bridgeport Islanders.
Oh, we'll get to them. That's we've got that
Yeah,
on the agenda here.
yeah. Don't worry, Laser. We're going to talk about the Islanders.
Yeah.
And then he complains that I haven't updated a certain section of my website, so
Uh,
we can just skip past that part. By the way, I will get to all those minor leagues, and I'm trying to update them one by one. What I'm doing is I'm trying to update them very, very like thoroughly. So it's
mm,
taking a long time to
right.
get through every single one. At Kilo One, who also commented last week, he's back. He says hockey alchemy is alive and well with the conjuring of the Hamilton Hammers.
Uh,
Yes, it certainly is. They again, they just appeared out of nowhere,
yeah.
which I love.
Yeah.
And in
Poof.
other news, Chris Creamer and Paul Caputo have both been banned from entering the city of Bridgeport, Connecticut. I can't imagine why.
Yeah.
We are big fans of
Right.
Bridgeport's minor league baseball
We'll
team.
be doing
That's
some
what they're
in-depth
called.
coverage of their Bridgeport Islanders hockey team.
Yes. Does Bridgeport have a minor league baseball team?
No, not certainly not at any sort of high level. I don't think
Are
so.
they the Connecticut Tigers at some point? Is that
There was
Bridgeport?
a Connecticut Tigers. They're the Norwich Sea Unicorns now.
Of course they are. Why wouldn't they be? At Anthony C3342. This is a fun one. Chris and Paul, I am the lucky guy who won the Hartford Yard Goats Name the Team contest in 2015. That's cool.
That is very
Also,
cool.
considering that I basically led a campaign to destroy this man. I no, I just didn't like the name at the time. Sorry, Anthony. Uh, Anthony continues. It is amazing the contest and the name are still talked about as much as it is. I
Mm,
agree, Anthony. It's a good name. I was wrong. Anthony says he can recall after he was honored by the team for coming up with the name that the Hartford Courant, is that how you say it? Courant? Courant? Is it like Kevin Durant? Kevin Courant?
Rhymes with Durant. Yeah.
The Hartford Courant vilified the name, and it was the source of ridicule throughout much of the sports world. Again, I apologize for that. I was part of that. Um, and Anthony goes on saying that he has listened to all 13 episodes of the podcast, now 14, I hope.
Thank you,
And he's
Anthony.
been a loyal subscriber and listener of the podcast from day one. Anthony, you are a star. Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you, Anthony.
And finally, at Tim Loblaw 6128,
Tim Loblaw, no relation to Bob Loblaw and Bob
blah,
Loblaw's
blah, blah.
Loblog.
Or maybe he's an heir to the Loblaw's grocery store
Oh.
fund up in Canada. So I'm guessing Hamilton's new PWHL team won't be the Hammers. Probably not. No, because the AHL team's called the Hammers.
Right.
Uh, I'm not sure what they'd be called, but the Hamilton had a couple of names they didn't go with. One of which was the Havoc, and I can't remember what the other ones were. But anything in Hamilton seems to be named after tigers or wildcats in some form. So why not?
Right.
We'll go with something like that. Tim Loblaw says he's loving the show, and he hopes that we can get Matt Damon on as
Oh,
a guest
yeah.
for a future Bridgeport Islanders episode. He adds a winky emoji, adding, if you know, you know. And we know we've reached out to Matt Damon's people many, many, many times, and he says he refuses to appear unless we talk about the Bridgeport Islanders. We tell him we're going to talk about that episode, but he is just very skeptical.
We want to
And
have him on to talk about it.
yeah, and he's not getting back to us. That is the latest in YouTube comments. If you want to have your comment read on our podcast, just comment on YouTube. It's very easy. That's the name of the segment.
It's YouTube comments. I'm a huge fan, Chris, of getting to hear from the listeners. I very much appreciate that folks are listening because we have a good time recording this. I have a fun time editing it, and I hope people are enjoying listening to it. It's a fun operation all around. I hope for everybody.
And maybe we'll reach out to this Anthony C3342 because I think he'd be fun to talk to.
Right.
Who picked the Yard Goats name. Like,
I wonder if I named
let's
him
hear
in the
that story.
article that I wrote way back in 2016 on your site about the rebranding of this team. The Yard Goats are a funny team because well, I don't know if this is funny, but they moved from New Britain where they were the Rock Cats, and then they played an entire season on the road because Duncan Park, which is one of the best parks in minor league baseball, was not ready yet. So they played a whole road season.
Wow, that's okay. That's
Yeah,
kind of like what the Bisons did, right? And they the Bisons changed their name when they
right,
played it.
right,
Yeah.
right. Because they played in Trenton. They were they
They're the
played
Trenton Thunder during home games and the Buffalo Bisons during road games.
they played as the Trenton Thunder, and they wore that Dan Simon designed Trenton Thunder logo.
You have like a mental Rolodex of who designed every minor league baseball logo, and I love it.
It's I have a lot of them. Some of them the teams don't do a good job promoting who designed it, and it's sort of hard to suss out. And you actually have to like search it out. That Hartford Yard Goats one was a classic Brandiose logo. That was one of their
That was
big
one of their
hits
first.
in
Yeah.
in the heyday of the wacky era of minor league baseball. Chris, we're speaking about minor league baseball. I'm trying not to
Mhm.
cut into my minor league minute, but that's what's next, the minor league minute.
I thought this was the minor league minute.
You could tell it's not yet the minor league minute because there's no ticking sound of the clock.
Oh, you're right. See,
And we haven't had our theme song yet.
I just always constantly hear a tick whenever you're talking. So I've learned to tune it out. Okay, well then I guess I'll throw it to the minor league minute here with podcast Paul Caputo.
It's the minor league minute with Paul Caputo. Paul Caputo. It's the minor league minute with Paul Caputo. Paul Caputo. It's the minor league minute with Paul Caputo.
I'm quoting all over the place here. Chris, back in March of 2001, there was an episode of The Simpsons, a famous episode of The Simpsons called Hungry, Hungry Homer, in which Homer Simpson discovers that Duff Beer, evil old Duff Beer, owner of the Springfield Isotopes, is going to relocate the team to Albuquerque, where they're going to be called, of course, the Albuquerque Isotopes. Homer susses all of this out, of course, by virtue of the fact that they're serving, things like Hatch green chilies on their hot dogs. Well, in 2003, there was a name the team contest for a new minor league baseball team in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And guess what won by a huge landslide? Not the old Dukes, not the old Albuquerque Dukes, but the Albuquerque Isotopes. Just 2 years after the airing of that episode, the ballpark was built with a whole sort of Simpsons-themed branding. They've got statues of the characters all around the ballpark. And it is, to this day, one of the most popular, wacky minor league baseball logos established in 2003. Your Albuquerque Isotopes. That is your minor league minute.
We really need more Simpsons related stories on this show.
Absolutely.
Again, this is something I could talk about all day. So the Albuquerque Isotopes moved from Calgary. So we could
That's right.
say, yeah, the old Calgary Cannons. We lost one of Canada's last affiliated minor league baseball teams to set this up, which, I mean, I'm sorry for Calgary, but my God, do I love the Albuquerque Isotopes and that they did this. This is amazing. Chris Bryant played for the Isotopes, I believe.
Oh,
So we had some stars, I guess.
Ryan Howard played for the Isotopes when he was trying to make
Ryan
a comeback.
Howard?
Yeah.
Did
yeah.
Ryan Howard try to make a comeback with the Rockies, or were they affiliated
He did.
with?
Yeah, they were the AAA affiliate for the Rockies. You mentioned the Calgary Cannons. Before they were the Calgary Cannons, they were the Salt Lake Gulls, which is another classic, awesome minor league brand.
I think a lot minor league baseball historic brands get
Yes,
overlooked.
absolutely.
There's a lot of good ones.
Yeah.
And you know what? Maybe I should really dive into some of the historic brands on the site and really bring them back to life.
I mean, there were like 9 different teams in minor league baseball that were the Portland Beavers, and they all had great logos, right?
Well, yeah, Albuquerque Isotopes. I love that story. And what a great origin story. And
Yeah.
it's very simple too, right? It's not like they found some sort of local legend and then combined it with a local train station and then mashed them together. And no, it's just we're named after the episode of The Simpsons. That's great. It's like that town in New Mexico that was called Truth or Consequences,
Right.
which named themselves after the TV show. Topical reference, Paul.
That was you're always you're on the ball with that. There are some, in so much as there is such a thing as a famous science lab, they actually do have some science that exists there. They have the Sandia Laboratories. I'm getting that wrong because it's not in front of me, but something along but the Sandia which means watermelon, which is from the color of the sky during the
Oh,
sunsets, by the way. That's why the Sandia Mountains get their name. And then also a famous science-themed TV show, Breaking Bad. The Walter White character is seen in several episodes wearing an Albuquerque Isotopes hat.
amazing.
It,
I love the attention to detail.
it is.
And the watermelons. So that's going to be an alternate identity someday if it isn't already for Albuquerque.
I mean, the word Sandia is very popular there, so it's they don't do a ton of alternate identities. Their Copa de la Diversión brand is quite good. The mariachis, they won the Fun Cup, the Copa de la Diversión, several years in a
When
row with their mariachis brand.
when you are named after a Simpsons episode, you do not need an alternate identity.
That's true. That is absolutely true. They do their one of their food-based alternates is the green chili cheeseburgers. One of my all-time favorite concession items at a baseball game is that green chili cheeseburger at a Albuquerque Isotopes game. It's a good burger, Chris.
Amazing. Well, that's it. That's the Albuquerque Isotopes. And
That's
I
your
think we're
minor league
kind of,
minute, kind of your minor league minute plus, because we talked a little bit more about it.
yeah,
It's hard not to.
you
They're conversation
sneakily
starters, these things.
you sneakily worked in like additional minor league time with me by
Minor league.
bringing you tricked me by talking about logos first of all, which is just low. And then and then you add on a Simpson story on top of that. Just
Right, right. This logo is, it kind of looks like a real sort of like formalized, professionalized version of that Springfield Isotopes logo. They never had a formal relationship with the Simpsons TV show, but they had the blessing of the TV show, and they in fact had the creator of the TV show. It wasn't Matt Groening, but it was somebody else who was associated with that show who came out and threw out the first pitch at the first Isotopes game. And so
love it.
they've got a good non-formal relationship with the Simpsons. Ken Levine is the guy who threw out the first pitch.
What I love about that episode is, the whole episode, Homer's basing this off of like he's trying to convince everybody that the team's moving. Nobody believes them. He starts protesting, and the team turns him into like a sideshow attraction to get fans to come to the game. And he's screaming about the team's moving. They no, they're not. No, they're not. And then at the end, they just look at the wrapper on the food, and it says Albuquerque Isotopes. Hey, he's right. And look at the wrapper; it says Albuquerque Isotopes on it.
It's
Hiding
brilliant.
in plain sight.
It's such a brilliant show. But Ken Levine was the guy who actually wrote that episode. That's how come he threw out the first pitch at a
Let's
at a
get him
game.
on the show.
Let's get Ken Levine on the show. It might be Ken Levine. I hope I'm not saying that wrong.
We can ask him.
Chris, I also wanted to mention, by the way, since we're talking about minor league baseball, there was a team in Bridgeport, Connecticut called the Bridgeport Bluefish,
Okay,
but they haven't been there since 2017.
I should know that because my website was around then.
And because
Obviously,
you're on that
celebrating its
text
20th
thread.
anniversary, actually. It's been around for a while.
Oh, no. Well, and, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck should have mentioned it on that text thread. Chris, let's get
Well,
into where were they?
Yeah, well, last week I talked about where I was in January of 1996 when Michael Jordan made his debut in Toronto. So it's your turn. This is how we do it, back and forth. I'm picking a date at random here.
Mm-hmm.
I know where I was on September 24th, 2013. I was hanging out with my newborn son, who just turned 13 the other day. But I really, really, really want to know where you were on September 24th, 2013. Paul, could you answer that for me? I'm dying to know.
I guess so. It's a good date to pick at random because I had a near moment with history. I thought you were going to say June 18, 2014, when I saw my one and only no-hitter ever in person in all the many baseball games that I've been to. I saw Clayton Kershaw throw no-hitter against the Rockies at Dodger Stadium. That was pretty cool. But since you asked about a different date, you asked about September 24, 2013. This was the closest I had come to a no-hitter in my whole time ever as a baseball fan before that Clayton Kershaw no-hitter. Michael Wacha went 8 2/3 innings of no-hit ball, and I was in St. Louis for it. I was there for work. I went to this game with friends, and let me tell you a couple of things. First of all, I kind of hold a certain amount of contempt for St. Louis baseball fans. And I think they invite it on themselves with the whole like Cardinal way and we're the best fans in baseball and that sort of thing. So I may have been there looking for things to pick on. This game was against the Washington Nationals. I forget who it was, but there was a Washington National who, in the sixth inning of this no-hitter, tried tried to bunt for a hit, and I booed. Even though I was not rooting for the Cardinals, I was still rooting for a no-hitter. I wanted to see a no-hitter, right? Like to see that in person is a badge of honor for a baseball fan. So I booed someone trying to bunt for a hit in the sixth inning. When I booed an attempted base hit on a bunt during a no-hitter, the fans around me were like, "Oh, we don't boo in St. Louis. Why are you booing? We don't know how you do it." I was wearing an Expos cap. "We don't know how you do it in Montreal. We don't boo here." So that was horrific, right? Okay, moving on. I was horrified, Chris, in the eighth inning of a no-hitter when fans in center field were trying to start the wave. Horrified. While Michael Wacha was pitching, they were trying to start the wave. But the most horror, Chris, the most horror that I experienced in this entire game was as we're going to the top of the ninth inning, Michael Wacha comes out, dude standing in front of us, turns to us, has not said word one to us the entire game, turns to us and says, "Have you ever seen a no-hitter? Because you're about to." Like, I genuinely deflated. I was like, that's it. There goes the no-hitter. We're absolutely not going to get this no-hitter. And sure enough, 8 innings and 2 outs into a no-hitter, Ryan Zimmerman hits this totally inoffensive little chopper, goes just over the pitcher. Michael Wacha trying to like make the play to secure his own no-hitter. Shortstop comes charging in. The throw is slightly wide. If it had been on, if it had been online, it would have been an out. They would have had him because Ryan Zimmerman is not fast. And no-hitter broken up. And it's not Michael Wacha's fault. It's not that shortstop's fault. It's not Ryan Zimmerman's fault. It is the dude standing in front of me who blew that no-hitter for everybody.
Oh, Paul, I'm sorry. No, that guy deserved a slap in the back of the head.
Yeah.
And, the St. Louis way, I got no problem with Cardinals fans, but don't do the wave during a no-hitter.
Don't do the wave. Like,
And
really
don't
do
talk
the
about the
wave.
no-hitter during
Yeah.
the no-hitter.
Yeah.
Is that the St. Louis way that you don't know how to be baseball fans? Now, I'm not talking about all Cardinals fans, but
No.
those people in particular.
Yeah.
Paul,
Like
I'm
John
very
Hamm is
quickly-
welcome on the show.
John Hamm's always welcome on the show.
Yes, yes.
He's going to bump Matt Damon, though. I'm going to quickly hop onto the back of your story here. Twice I almost saw a no-hitter. Once as a fan in 2007, Dustin McGowan, Blue Jays starter, took a no-hitter into the ninth inning against Colorado during an interleague game in Toronto.
Okay.
Lost it with no out in the ninth inning. That was a bummer. It's the only time I've seen one go to the ninth.
Okay.
When I worked for the Blue Jays in 2003, I had the honor of watching Roy Halladay in that masterful September of 2003, where he just dominated that entire month, winning the Cy Young Award.
Yeah.
But in one of those games, he was absolutely just locked right in.
Yeah.
And had a no-hitter, I believe, into the seventh or eighth innings, and it looked like this was a sure thing.
Yeah.
A beer vendor walks down I was an usher, walks down my section, looks around at the fans, he notices nobody's buying beer because they're all into this.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Come on, buy a beer. Don't worry. He still has the no-hitter, everyone."
No.
Yells it. Very next pitch, Paul,
Yeah.
a double.
Of
Ends
course.
the no-hitter. And
Yeah.
I just turned and I stared at him. It's like, it's one thing for a fan to do it.
Yeah.
For staff to do it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. That's terrible. So recently on one of my Where Were They's, I talked about how I got to see Christopher Sanchez throw a complete game shutout in Pittsburgh. And I noticed, like, for me, it was like second or third inning, and I didn't say anything. I wish I had, but I almost turned to the people I was with and just said, certainly not no hitter, especially early in the game like that. But I almost said, he looks like he has really special stuff. I thought he looks like he has really special stuff today. And like, sometimes I think you can just see that early in a game.
Yeah, sometimes you get that feeling, right?
Yeah.
And by the way, that's the right way to bring up there's a no-hitter going on. Like,
Yes.
sometimes when I'm watching on TV with my family, I'll be like, he's throwing a very good game.
Right.
He's throwing a very good
Yeah.
game. And then
Right.
like my son who knows the rules, he'll look at me and go, "Huh? Oh, yeah, he's throwing
Yeah.
a good game. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, Geez, Chris, that story took longer than I meant for it to, and we are out of time for that Bridgeport Islander story. We'll get to that next week.
Next week.
But
We'll
in the
talk about that.
meantime, another fantastic conversation. Really enjoy our weekly get-togethers here, Chris. And yeah, thanks very much. I hope the Blue Jays have a great week this week.
You're so nice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Paul. Is it because they're playing the Phillies this week?
No, they're not playing the Phillies. Are they playing the Phillies this week?
I think they are.
Is that true?
If it is, that's hilarious.
That would be hilarious. In which case, I would have to retract the statement. I know that the
Oh
Phillies
no,
play
you
the
keep it.
the Phillies play the Padres.
It's next week. They play the Phillies June 8th, 9th, and 10th.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
So, yes,
this
you
week
do
I
hope
hope
that
they
they
have a
have a good
great week and get it all out of their system. This
And
week
then
the
you hope they
Phillies
have a terrible week.
right. This week the Phillies have the Padres and the surprising Chicago White Sox.
Well, hey, the Phillies are in Toronto next week. Come on up.
I'll be there. I'll be there. We got to stop and see a game in Buffalo, that long-awaited game in Buffalo, and then I'll make my way to Toronto. I started keeping a list, by the way, because you know I love lists of places where I have seen the Phillies play, and I think I've got like 8 or 9, depending on whether you count London Stadium or not.
Yeah, of course.
I think it's 9 counting London Stadium and both Citizens Bank and the Vet.
Did you see Montreal?
No, I did not see the Phillies play in Montreal. I saw the Reds play in Montreal.
Well, they both wear the same color uniforms.
Basically the same.
All right, Paul, you have a good week, and we'll talk to everyone else next week. Leave your comments.